Hello, my pack, my tribe. Welcome to Howling After Dark. Okay, so all my listeners know that I week after week after week after week, I do a paranormal talk show. And I'm going to do a paranormal talk show tonight, but before we get to that, there's something I've got to say. Something to get off my chest. I've never made it a secret that I'm Native American. I'm in fact very, very fucking proud of that fact. But what is pissing me off to no fucking end right now is, well, first the fact that Donald Trump has said derogatory remarks against my fucking people who have done nothing to him, by the fucking way. Have done nothing to him. Nothing. Zero. All we want is the same thing we've always fucking wanted, and that's what was guaranteed us in those fucking treaties. Contracts. Legal. Binding contracts. Which have never been honored by the United States government. And he wants to go on national fucking TV and fucking insult us. As if that weren't fucking bad enough, I just heard yesterday, well, not heard, I fucking read, about this 62-year-old fucking man, a Native American gentleman, that was in Washington, D.C. for a march, I guess, or political gathering, if you will. And he was just on the street minding his own fucking business, trying to play his drums. And these three fucking punk little bastards wearing fucking Make America Great bullshit were intimidating him. Essentially fucking bullying an old man. Now, there's two things I want to say to that. One, those fuckers are really goddamn lucky that I wasn't there. Because I would have went fucking old school, threw the fucking war paint on, and fucking started collecting some scalps. And then they would have seen what a native really is. So that's number one. Number two, how fucking dare you? He wasn't doing anything to you. Why would you even fuck with him? And number three, I can't believe, I'm actually a little bit shocked and a little bit in awe that in 2019, with everything that we achieved against racism, not just natives, not just blacks, not just whites, everybody. I mean, yeah, there was still racism, but it was very, very much muted. And now, because of Donald Trump, it's like America's Nazi Germany. Really, because if you're not white, good luck. Good fucking luck. If you try and even do anything in this country and you're not white, good fucking luck. If you're a foreigner, good fucking luck. Okay? Because here's the thing. First of all, every time that idiot gets on fucking CNN or Fox News or whatever, I see like this cartoon bird popping out of that hair. Fucking his looks like a bird's nest going cuckoo, cuckoo. That's first of all. Second of all, for a guy that claims to hate immigrants so much, he sure has married a lot of them. And thirdly, thanks, Dick. Now who's going to make my tacos? You claim that these people are coming into our country and fucking taking all the jobs. No, they're not. No, they're fucking not. They're taking the jobs that nobody wants. All they want are the same opportunities that the rest of you fucktards have taken for granted. Well, I got a news flash for you. The average white family, average, has about 4 kids. The average Native American family has 8. There are a lot more of us than there are of you. You keep fucking poking the bear, and that thing that you're so fucking terrified about is gonna fucking happen. Because as of, not even as of this year, as of the 2016 census, there are over 2 million Navajo alone. That's just the Navajo. So go ahead, poke that bear. Watch what fucking happens. Because I can fucking promise you, dude. This fucking... Because that's all it is. All of this making America... First off, America was already fucking great. What you're doing is you're not making it great. You're fucking it up. First of all. So let's get that clear right out of the gate. Secondly, any of you fucking Trump supporting racist fucking whitey McCracker ass motherfuckers want to fight, don't go picking on no fucking 62-year-old man. Come looking for me. Hell, I'll even give you my fucking address. Because I guarantee you it is not going to go your fucking way. Because first of all, I'm a combat veteran. Meaning, the Army spent a lot of money on me teaching me how to kill fuckers like you with my thumbs. Secondly, if you by some miracle of God get by me, I've got 3 fucking pit bulls sleeping in my fucking house right now. Sweetest dogs you could ever meet in your life, but guess who they love more than themselves? Yours truly. And if none of that fucking works, if by some ungodly reason you make it past me, you make it past my dogs, you're not coming back out of this house because I have it set up so that anywhere I am in my house, no matter what room I'm in, I got a little something something within arm's reach. So good fucking luck. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, well, violence doesn't solve anything. Bull motherfucking shit, it doesn't. You don't think violence solves anything? Really? Ask the Mohicans. Oh, wait, that's right. You can't. You'd have to find them first. Because there's not a lot of them left anymore. That's what violence does. Or, hell, better yet, better yet, there's this little fucking village in Iraq. You could ask them. Oh, but wait, you can't because they're all fucking dead. So go ahead, be racist. Because, and let's be clear, neither myself or any Native American I know hate white people. We love white people because white people come to our casinos. What we hate is Whitey McCracker ass that has not honored any single fucking deal he's ever had with us. In short, Donald Trump. The big chief of the Whitey McCracker ass clan. Anyhow, on with tonight's show. Actually, before we do that, I want to make something clear to my listeners who don't think that way, or maybe they support Trump, maybe they don't, but they still don't think that way. They're not racist against anybody. They're just caught up because he belongs to a certain party or whatever. We don't hate you. I want to make that very clear. We don't hate you. We don't. Um, in fact, we have a lot of mutual respect for pretty much everybody that is deserving of it. But the fact of the matter is we aren't going to take people's shit for much longer. That's not a guess. It's not a prediction. It's not even a threat. It's a statement of fact. Because nobody in the history of the entire world has been pushed like we have. And nobody in the history of the entire world can be pushed and pushed and pushed without there being backlash. So just take that into account. And to be clear, I don't hate anybody based on the color of their skin, based on their religion, based on their beliefs, based on their income, or any other fucking ridiculous concept for hating someone. I don't hate based on sexuality either. You are what you are, and bless you for it. Just don't try and force it on me. But when you piss on the rights of anybody, I get angry. But especially when you piss on the rights of my fucking people who have been pissed on and beat down enough. And you're playing with fire every time you do, because here's the facts. collectively, Native Americans are the proudest warrior race that's ever existed on this earth. That's a statement of fact. Warrior. Understand what that means. That not only means that we are built for warfare, it means that we bring honor to the game. And that's something anybody opposing us should be terrified of. Because much like the Vikings, we can only be honored if we have a good death. So we have nothing to be afraid of. Anyways, food for thought. Now on to tonight's show. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight is some of the things that have been, quite frankly, missing from the paranormal field, I guess you could say, in popular media. And I've discussed this before and discussed it a million times, that, like popular TV shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, whatnot, they all like to ham it up and sensationalize the negative aspect to get ratings. And it's not entirely their fault, by the way. It's what they're forced to do most of the time by the people that produce the shows. Travel Channel, Destination America, etc., etc. So, my standpoint on that, but there's some things that are missing. I've noticed recently too. It seems like a little bit, just a little bit, and I'm not picking on anybody, and I'm also keeping in mind that we're only seeing so much of what actually happened. So a lot of what I'm noticing that is missing might actually be there, and it just ended up on the editing room floor, so to speak. I've noticed that and once again, I'm not picking on the teams. It could be the production, but I have noticed that it seems like they've forgotten what paranormal investigation means, as in they've forgotten the investigation part of it. Because I've noticed, and primarily I will say it's been with Ghost Adventures as of late. I have noticed that apparently, probably according to the, because of the editing, um, they have jumped to conclusions about what's going on in some of these places. And this has been going on in Ghost Adventures alone for probably the past 2 seasons. In fact, I was just rewatching, I think it was season 13, when they went to the Nevada State Prison. There was some conclusion jumping going on there. Primarily, uh, they had interviewed this former prison guard, and they were talking to him about experiences he was having in his own home, dealing with the shadow figure he'd seen, and they had just jumped to the conclusion prior to actually investigating it that it was connected to the prison. And I'm not saying it's not. It probably is. that's not really my point. The point is, as paranormal investigators, we have to investigate everything before we come to the conclusion. Because if we're going into it, I'll give you an example, okay? Here's a prime example, not from TV. This is actually from somebody I know. So, a former associate of mine, a former team member of mine, who I'm not going to name because I don't, A, want to embarrass anybody, and B, I'm hoping that this person has learned from their past mistakes, and there's no need to embarrass them at this point. But this individual I used to ghost hunt with, that was a part of my team, for reasons I'm not going to get into, split off and had their own investigation team. And they were doing an investigation, and I happened to hear about it, kind of secondhand, so keep that in mind. This is secondhand information, but it is a good example. So they were investigating this location that we used to go to quite a bit, the Mansfield Farm Museum. And he had seen a shadow figure back by the old soda shop, which is an area that's very familiar to me and my whole team. We happen to know that the individual spirit that haunts that particular spot is this guy named Donnie. He was a Korean War vet. He didn't get a Dear John letter. He just came home and found that his fiancée had actually married somebody else. And didn't deal with it very well. Basically ended up drinking himself to death. Anyways, I digress. So, most likely that's the shadow figure that he saw, but he jumped to the conclusion that it was a negative spirit. Yeah. And he began to provoke. First off, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know my stance on provoking. I fucking hate it. It's pointless. It's bullshit. And it's unnecessary. If you would not talk to somebody like that in their own home, don't fucking say it. Because that's essentially what you're doing. So, there you have it. But as a result, there was some pushback, I guess you could say. And he got scared really bad and ended up leaving early that night. None of that had to happen except he jumped to the conclusion that wasn't necessarily true. And that's all I'm getting at with these shows is they're starting that same trend of, oh, well, this is what's here. How do you know that? Did you actually investigate it? And if you did actually investigate it, where's that footage? Because that's the shit I'm actually interested in. I can't speak for anybody else. But that's the part I want to see. I mean, yeah, okay, it's great. You caught an apparition. Fantastic. That's always a good thing. Why are you assuming that it's something that maybe it isn't? Did you investigate it to get to that conclusion? Where's that footage? Because that's what I want to see. I want to see how A leads to B and then C. I don't want to see it go from A to C and with no explanation in between. I mean, to me personally, that's just shitty editing. And I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the teams in question. But there you have it. So I've noticed that that's missing. I've noticed that some of the things they used to do in the beginning, like when they all first started, they kind of just stopped doing. Like the good things that they were doing has stopped. Like, think about this, and I'm not saying that Ghost Adventures is a bad show. I don't believe that they are. I think they're pretty good, actually. But when was the last time they did any kind of fan interaction using social media? Seriously. Think the last time I've ever seen it with Ghost Adventures was when they did that epic live investigation at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. That was the last time they had like live feeds from Twitter. And that was awesome. I mean, it was such an epic production. Obviously, they can't do it every time, but why aren't they doing that every Halloween somewhere? Don't get me wrong. I love the Halloween shows that they do. I even kind of like the last one. At least I think it was the last one where they were just going by their favorite locations or favorite this or favorite that, and they even uh, had it set up so like the fans of the show could vote on their favorite stuff, and that was cool. But the epicness of the live investigation with the Twitter feed, that has been unmatched since then. And I guess I don't understand why they don't do more of that. And especially now, since like the technology has evolved, making it even easier to do something like that, and they won't have to have as huge a production of it. So I've noticed that's missing. I've noticed that I notice a lot of the particular. It seems like I'm pissing the. Blah, blah, sorry, tongue tied. Uh, Seems like I'm picking on Ghost Adventures a lot, but that's the show I watch more often than not. So they're the ones I notice this kind of stuff with. And I've noticed over the last few seasons that like they really haven't done a lot with like guest investigators or working with the inventors like they used to. Like there's a few with Bill Chappell, but I haven't seen Gary Galka since like they investigated his house. I would love to see more in-depth stuff with him. I would love to see some more in-depth stuff with maybe like Dr. Barry Taft, who they only interviewed like once for a short amount of time when they investigated the having a brain fart, the victim of the Manson family that was pregnant. I forget her name. Anyways, so I'd love to see more stuff with him. Anyways, um, I'd love to see them actually do stuff, um, based on, like the movies that they've done. Like, I would love to see them do an investigation at the Perrin family's home. or at the Conjuring, the home from the Conjuring, and stuff like that. I would love to see that, but they haven't really. They just kind of stopped. I don't understand how they come up with their locations. I guess it's all on the production end of the show. Um, but you'd think they'd get at least a little say so about it and be able to investigate more cool places like that. I don't know. Um, and the one thing that has been consistently missing from all the shows for the entirety of their runs, as far as I can tell, is I would like to see something set up so that they actually um, investigate locations based on the fan suggestions. And I think it wouldn't take a lot to get set up to do that. Like I've sent Twitter messages and Facebook posts and everything to the Ghost Adventures guys about a couple different locations I would love for them to investigate. Out of the probably 8 different locations that I suggested, they've only investigated one, and that was the Whaley House in Old Town San Diego. I would have suggested the Star of India in San Diego, but they kind of beat me to that one. But I'd love to see them go back for sure. Um, but I've also suggested places here in Ohio. I suggested the Mansfield Farm Museum because that place is crazy haunted. Like we've captured better evidence there than pretty much anywhere. Um, there's places in Barberton that they're just tiny little places. They're not even inside a building necessarily. They're just that level of haunted that would definitely do well on TV. Like there's a place in Barberton we call the Vortex. It's just this little alleyway next to an old cemetery, the old Portage Cemetery. But we went there several times and with a digital camera, and we each time we would go, we would take pictures before we went. So like we would take pictures of Mark or Sarah or Darren or somebody in the living room, and they would just be normal pictures. And then we would go to this location and take pictures, and we would capture stuff like my totem surrounding me, or my brother with his arm over me, or uh, you know Bridget walking out of her body like 10 feet in front of herself. Things like that, and they were all pictures at this one location, and then we would take pictures with the same camera after we left, and they'd all be normal again. So there's definitely something going on there. And there's, you say haunted Ohio, and immediately everybody thinks of like the Mansfield Reformatory or maybe the Bisman Building. The Chase Tower beats them all. Like it is a massive location. We would investigate from the 2nd floor up to the 10th floor. And on every single floor, something was going on. The Alexander Commons building in Barberton, Ohio, is the location of the clearest set. Not even just one. a set of EVPs, the clearest set of EVPs we have ever captured. And when I say EVPs, I mean on a digital recorder, not ITC device, on a digital recorder. We got, before the investigation, doing the walkthrough, we were doing the walkthrough, and the owner of the building was telling us not to touch some stuff because it belonged to a photo studio. It was really expensive. And right at that moment, our EVP specialist, Becca, was rolling on her EVP recorder. She caught, clear as day, why should Ghost Wolf move anything around? That clear. And not even 10 minutes later, when we were getting ready to leave, we were talking about, being able to get a hold of him to set up the investigation, which would be in like a couple days, because we were doing it that Friday night. And he said, yeah, I'll get you a business card or whatever. And right then, clear as day, Class A EVP, clearest I've ever heard, Jay, call him. And then third, and my all-time favorite EVP ever, because it wasn't even an EVP, it was actually a disembodied voice. Because it was captured on digital recorder, and it was captured on the camera footage. The very first episode of Forgotten Ghost Towns that we ever filmed was at Alexander Commons. And within 5 minutes of us actually investigating, you hear me reacting to like the shadow figure I saw. And I said, okay, did anybody else see that? And immediately after I say that, you hear this Class A EVP female voice go, come and find me. I'm in the building. And it was captured on both digital recorder and on the camera footage. And that's the other thing that's kind of missing, And I think a lot of it has to do with the whole approach that, and once again, it's not necessarily the teams. It's more like the production companies, because they limit the scope of what they're looking for so much that they only get to deal with the negative stuff. But nobody has captured the level of evidence that we've caught. Nobody. Hell, my last episode of this show, or no, it wasn't this show, it was the premiere episode of Ghost Wolf Live, which is going to be pretty epic, I think. It's a live investigation show, so you're going to hear the radio, and you're also going to have the option of watching live video as we investigate. And we had a little session that I did right here in my room, my little studio here, quote unquote, that was epic because it was verifying the activity on 3 separate things. I was getting voices coming through the Spirit Box app. At the same time, I have this, it's called the Real Ghost Detector. It's like the Ghost Radar app, except it's not random. Like the Ghost Radar app is, it actually has to pick up on disturbances in radio frequencies, electromagnetic pulses, and or static energy in order to show a blip on the radar. And at the same time, my EM detector was going off. That's 3 different sets of evidence gathered all at the same time. You don't ever see that really. I mean, occasionally you might see it on Ghost Adventures, but for the most part, I don't even think they're trying to get that level of evidence. I think they're just trying to keep the production company happy most of the time, actually. And I certainly understand it. Um, and I feel for them because I know they're really not like that. You know what I mean? Like, I know in my heart of hearts that they just want to go to places and investigate them, but they're kind of pigeonholed because they got to do what the production company wants. See, and that's why if I ever win the lottery, I know what I'm going to do with it. I have this great idea. I'm going to start my own TV network if I ever win the lottery. I'm going to start my own TV network. It's going to be the Paranormal Channel. And I'll take uh, teams like the Ghost Adventures, and I'll tell them, you don't have to ham anything up. You don't have to focus on the negative. Just go find whatever there is. And if there's nothing there, no biggie. Because more important than seeing the cool little orbs or the cool little, apparitions, I think it's as equally important for people, and by people I mean the viewers, to see what it's like to do an investigation that nothing happens. Or maybe only a few things happen. Or, because it's not guaranteed. Although I will say that I think mostly because of how we approach things, Ghost of Paranormal, in the years that we've been a team, have never, ever walked away from an investigation empty-handed. It's never happened. So I would love to give people that freedom to not just investigate, but to investigate being themselves. If that makes sense. I would take them off the leash, to put it in dog terms, and just let them do whatever they're going to do. So yeah, that's what I would do if I won the lottery. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Ghost of Live and what I want to do with the show. Um, my thinking behind it is really simple. I want to show the world how we investigate. So that's number one. Number two, I want to um, also show the world what a real investigation is like. Because, nothing that I'm going to show through that, I mean, like, everything you're seeing is live. It's not edited at all. And that's the way we want it. In fact, we want our viewers to be kind of part of the team. You're like our evidence review team, because if you see something or hear something, you can tell us that you saw or heard it. and like approximately when during the video, excuse me, you saw or heard it, and that helps us establish n- not only very fact detailed evidence review, it also lends it more credibility. So if we're not the only ones seeing or hearing it, and you're seeing or hearing it, in fact, you're seeing or hearing it before we are, how much more credibility could you ask for? And three, the other thing that I want to do with Ghost of Live is I want to have other teams come and investigate with us. So people are seeing not only how we do it, they're seeing how other teams do it too. And that way they can see what is successful for everybody. And then come up with their own way of doing it. And really, I wanted to do Ghost of Live like forever ago. I just wasn't set up to do that, unfortunately. So, but now I am. And if you've seen it, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, and we'll go from there. I'm trying to figure out a way to actually set it up so that you're actually seeing infrared cameras. I think there's a way I can do it with one of my security cams, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. But I'll definitely let you know. And then, we'll figure it out from there. But yeah, if you have any suggestions or if you want to be a guest on that show, even, um, or better yet, if you see Ghost Wolf Live and you have something going on in your home that you want us to come investigate and you're okay with us filming it, let me know. And if you're not okay with us filming it, let me know too, because I'll follow whatever you want. If you don't want it to be filmed for, the consumption of YouTube viewers or whatever, let me know up front and I won't put it on YouTube. I've actually sat on quite a few actually, residential investigations that we've done where the people were like, yeah, no. But if you have something going on in your home and you're okay with it, cool. If not, cool. Either way, that's what I want to do with Ghost of Live. I want to be able to show the world every aspect of what it is that we do. Because at the end of the day, we're not doing it for us. You know, it's not about us. I mean, we do get something out of it because, yes, there is a level of adventure with paranormal investigating that satisfies our adrenaline junkie nature, but it's not really about that. It's about two things, really. It's about helping the living by either helping them come to terms with the idea of a ghost living in their home, or B, removing negative spirits from their home. And then the third thing it's about helping the spirits themselves. Because, and I want to be very clear on this, and this, I, I say it's my viewpoint because the, the way I see the spirit world is very detailed, And so I'm perhaps know things that other people don't know about the subject. Like, I happen to know that most spirits are here because they choose to be. Um, because we don't lose free will when we die. However, that is not to say that there isn't such a thing as trapped spirits. They're just maybe not as common as people seem to think. There is such a thing as demons, also pretty rare. Um, things there are other kinds of negative spirits that aren't necessarily demonic; they're just negative. Um, and so we would love to show that, you know, that there is a difference between all these things. And we would also love to show that just because you think you have something demonic or negative in your house doesn't mean that that's the case. Maybe it's just something trying to get your attention. I can't tell you how many times that's actually been the case. And with coming up, 480 something house cleansings to date without having to do a return visit, it kind of tells me I'm doing something right. And maybe, just maybe, I know what I'm talking about. But that's the whole point of Ghost Wolf Live, is I want you to see for yourself. You know, either you think this guy knows what he's saying and knows what he's about, or you don't. And that's on you, ultimately, to see that. Because not everybody's going to mesh with everybody. I get that. But maybe if you think what I'm doing is worthwhile, you'll tell your friends about it. Your friends will start watching. And then your friends will tell their friends, etc., etc., etc. I want to get to a point where Ghost Wolf Paranormal is a worldwide phenomenon. And not for myself, not for my team, but for the people and the spirits we get to help. I want to be able to reach the entire world. Now, here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. With the show, or without the show, we don't ever charge for a residential case. The most we would ever charge, if we had to charge, which most of the time we don't, but the most we would ever charge is for travel expenses. And that's only if you're like really far away from us. In fact, in the entire time that Ghost Wolf has been a team, I can only think of one time where we had to ask somebody for gas money because they were so far away from us. I mean, we're in Akron and they live in Athens, Ohio, which is, you know, halfway across the freaking state. It's like 6 hours away. So of course, you know, we brought up if you could help us out with a little gas money, we would appreciate it. But that was it. It wasn't like, oh well, I'm charging you for, you know, what I'm doing here. We would never charge for residential. For business, however, um, some businesses we would, some, and let me qualify this, some businesses we would have to charge for simply because of their size. If it's like a little mom and pop type place, that's one thing. We're probably not going to charge for that. But if it's like a huge warehouse that has to be cleansed, it's going to cost me money just in materials. So all I'm looking to get is the price for the materials back. And I don't think that's asking a lot. But it is my goal to, at least one time, I want to do a residential case where I come in and do my thing and cleanse the house and you get to see it live. Now, I will tell you now, and I will repeat it if it ever happens, that there is a slight danger if that ever does happen. Because some demonic entities, some negative spirits have the ability to travel through wireless devices. Apparently. I've never come across one in my 30 years doing this, but I have heard about it. So, there's your disclaimer. But I will take every precaution. I'll even bless my devices before I use them. That's how far I'll go. So that, you know, they're protected. And therefore you're protected. But I digress. So, yeah, if you have a residential case, let us know. Or if you know of a place where we can go and film, preferably for free, as we don't make a lot of money, or for very, very cheap, at least, let us know. Hit us up. Even if we can't do it for whatever reason, we always appreciate the information. And I've gotten a few of those, by the way. Uh, People have sent me a couple messages and emailed me a couple times about some different places that, unfortunately, we haven't been able to do because they're too far away. And with our work schedules, it's just not feasible at this time. But that doesn't mean we won't be able to do them in the future. And one place I actually want to tell you guys about, actually, there's two places. One is called Farnham Manor. And you can check them out online. You can look it up, Farnham Manor. It's Farnham Manor, Manor. You can check that out online and see what events they got going on. And if you can go to any of these events, please do. They definitely need the help. They're actually in danger of closing. And they just had an event that I actually wanted to take part in, but I had to work. So, unfortunately, I couldn't go. And the other one is called the Ohio Farm Museum. That evidently is very, very haunted. So if you want to check either of those two things out, they both have websites. Feel free to look those up and check them out, see what they're all about. I think they're both awesome places, to be honest with you. But that's kind of my biased opinion, and that's even including the fact that I haven't actually been to either one of them yet. But I've been dying to go because everything I read is just blowing me away. And I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but you know how there's like maybe a place you haven't been to yet, but you've heard about, or you read about it, or you've seen it on TV, and like every fiber of your being is just screaming at you to go. That's what these places are for me. That, and there's a place in Australia. I have to go. I have to go at least once in my lifetime, and you definitely will be a part of it. I will make sure that it is on Ghost Wolf Live if it kills me. The Adelaide Hotel. It is considered one of the most haunted hotels in the entire world. I've read about it. I've even seen a few video things about it, but wow. It looks like it's right out of the 1800s, by the way. It's not like a big grandiose hotel like the Stanley is, or even the Brown Palace. It looks like it belongs on the set of a Western. Nice hotel, no doubt, but that's what it looks like. Anyways, that's about all the time we've got for tonight, folks. Until next time, my pack, my tribe. Peace out.